Hey there, this just in. The world is not yet perfect. Freedoms are not to be taken for granted. And the only liberty that is guaranteed to us is the internal knowing that we are born with and that must be cultivated at any cost. I say this a few days after coming out of an in-person incarceration, also known as hospitalization, at a behavioral health care hospital in the state of Massachusetts. I am a bleeding heart liberal, true blue, go Massachusetts, go Boston. I've lived here for coming up on 22 years, and I am grateful for the town that I live in, Amesbury, Massachusetts. And right now I'm staying in a friend's home in Roxbury, staying in the homes of a variety of friends because I'm going through a divorce. Ever so grateful for my incredible partner in life and so many things over the past 12 years of marriage, David Draper, but also, as he knows, because we've been talking about it for about a year, but also living it ever since January of 2016, when I was first hospitalized and diagnosed as bipolar. Our partnership, our friendship, our romantic relationship was stressed and ultimately unraveled because of the pressures, the expectations, and the damage done by the behavioral healthcare system in this country. What in me is a gifting or maybe just a natural propensity developed in missionary spaces for attuning to the voice of Spirit, God. I say this with a certain degree of skepticism because I have been carefully schooled in apologetics and always questioning the logic and the rationale behind hearing or knowing information that is beyond my own ken, my experience. And probably because I grew up in a deeply spiritual family with worship music and with a lot of meditative time and space to open up to the voice of God, I have never doubted my own inner knowing, even in the times when the people around me question me, and even in the midst of being labeled as psychotic, as delusional, and even as harmful, though the record does not show that I have any history of harming anyone. Maybe I've broken a few hearts, but not literally. I've never done physical damage to any property other than the occasional sticker placed for the sake of encouragement on a mirror, or little message written on the back of somebody's book. This video may or may not be the thing that I post. Right now it's feeling very tender. And nonetheless, I know myself to be a being of love. And I know the work that I'm here to do has always been loving and transformative and also courageous. So when I tell you that I was overheard talking about my desire to see empty office buildings turned into homes for the unhoused and the destitute, I did not literally mean I wanted to burn anything down. And I didn't even say that. I think I said I would rather see big old brick buildings like these burn to the ground than another child starve. And in missionary spaces, saying things like that is seen literally as we want to see the widowed, the orphaned, the poor, the homeless, the imprisoned. We want to see them survive and thrive in order to feel that we ourselves are in truth. But also in the state of Massachusetts, where we are known for having a lot of bumper stickers that say things like, well-behaved women rarely make history. It's funny that we still put so much stock in a behavioral healthcare system that literally wants people to follow scripts in which they set boundaries for themselves, but do not give more than a bumper sticker's length of skin in the game. Because I know a lot of people who have spent thousands of dollars on tattoos, and bless you, you should. Tattoos are awesome. I'm gonna get some soon myself. But hardly sleep at night because of the anxiety that comes with our collective confusion. There are wars being won with strokes of pen, but meanwhile, many of us dissociatively scroll through social media, rewatch old episodes and stand-up comedy routines. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of those things. We need our entertainment. And this just in. There's more. There's more to life than the things you scroll through. There's more to life than the people you knew and what their latest workout regimen has yielded, what their current mindfulness practice is teaching them. I was reminded, because when you're going through a divorce and there's like a family wedding going on and people are on vacation and you haven't gotten straight who your emergency contact should be, even the most faithful of friends, and my friend David, my soon-to-be ex-husband, is without question the most faithful friend a woman could hope for or a person could hope for. But even he could not navigate the behavioral healthcare system in such a way that I could get what my body needed. And I had 2 crowns that had fallen out. I had recently been rear-ended in a accident, a car accident. A truck had hit me. I have several different institutions that I could be litigating against, and I might not. I don't know. I'm just hopeful that my unemployment finally goes through. I think it will. I waited on hold for an hour yesterday. And I can laugh because I have been well programmed to find humor in all things. But I also cried a lot because my body was harmed. I was harassed. I was degraded. And literally some things happened that I never thought would happen, at least not to me. At least not to like someone who presents with so much privilege and so much knowledge. I'm grateful for every moment of humiliation, ridiculousness, and I'm grateful for the fury that it rekindled in me. Because while I recently penned most of a musical about the coercive but also amusing realities of mental illness in modern times, I think that my immersion in spaces where people are playful, comedic, and fiery about changing the landscape of mental health. Places like the Creative Expression Group that I helped to found at the amazing Jeannie Kiker Crisis Center. Places like Juneteenth celebrations in Lawrence and in Amesbury. Spaces like street corners in Newburyport where you hear incredible musicians like Lauren Ben. Spaces from theater to music, and most especially the spiritual spaces that I've inhabited with my family and friends ever since I was a child. Youth with a Mission, hula dancing spaces, now Latin dancing and working out and yoga. I have been lucky to be in spaces where people want a truth that both surpasses but also playfully, gently, and lovingly undermines the dominant narratives. And the dominant narrative is alive and well, as anyone who is watching the news knows. A narrative in which those who do not present as standard are expendable. Those who present as wonky, weird, vulnerable, or maybe just female should be utilized for their capacities to entertain, but thrown aside or undermined and discredited when they no longer keep us smiling. I've always been someone who sings to self-soothe, but also to bless the people around me. And consistently, every time I've had an inpatient hospitalization, I have needed, for my own de-escalation, to sing quietly to someone who's crying, which is sometimes just me, in order to get quiet enough internally to fall asleep. And I can never sleep long, which is normal. There's a lot of noise on psychiatric floors. But I'm grateful that I know enough about the systems that I've had to navigate that I no longer bend a knee and pretend to be satisfied by people force feeding or literally injecting in my arms sedatives. It doesn't matter if I've been too loud by asserting my rights or talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act. Even if the people who are hearing me perceive me as aggressive, if I have no harmful history upon myself or others, the state of Massachusetts does not have the right to label me as harmful and to do bad things to my body. It does not have a right to leave bruises up and down my arms. It does not have a right to leave me terrified. And good news, I'm not afraid. I have a healthier dose of fear and realism. And yet my calling is clearer than ever. Please label me forever disabled. SSDI, Medicaid, here I come. My psychiatric record has grown longer, and my will to see others protected from the harm inherent in any of our country's flawed systems, my will is stronger than ever. So I will have shorter, pithier, and more tuneful presentations to come. I wrote multiple songs while in my incarceration. I will have further gratitudes to the people on the floor who were in fact able to help me survive and even sleep on occasion. But for now, I want to remind all of us that it is a luxury to make a stand, to take a stand. I didn't do it on purpose. I never wanted to go back to inpatient hospitalization again, but I'm glad I did, because I have a pillar to stand on, the pillar of my own wonky, weird, neurospicy, neurodivergent reality, my spiritual attunement known as bipolar, according to a manual that was created in the aftermath of the Civil War. That's right, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, the DSM, now in its umpteenth variation, was created when the Civil War tore this country asunder and people came home not just bereaved of heart and broken in body, but wonky in the brain. And I happen to know that my brain is a powerful, albeit strange, space that wants the people around me to reckon with not my specific word, but each of our own integrity, each of our own sense of calling. We each get to blaze the trail that capital S Spirit offers us in a lifetime. And I know many folks who are beautifully living lives as householders, according to Buddhist terminology, having children, bringing them education in whatever form is possible and seems best at the time. I know many people who are barely balancing all of the spinning plates. I myself have a slightly weird path to walk, but also it's really no weirder than any of the high flyers that I know. We each get to choose which paths we will forge, when we will default to ease, and when we will when we would rather die. And I don't have plans to die anytime soon. Newsflash. Still, I've never done harm to myself or anyone else. But I would rather die than not be honest about the fact that even the most beautiful, liberal, open-hearted spaces in the United States of America are happy to marginalize and happy to harm if it is the standard protocol and if it is more efficient and cost-effective than deeply listening and attuning. So I was offered a job by the place that just harmed me because I made a lot of friends by the time I left. But as I've already mentioned, I'm on unemployment. And while I may go back and consult with them and or teach the occasional yoga class soon, I have yoga credentials to re-up. I have songs to sing and pen, and I have a musical to finish writing. So thank you for tuning in to Monday Morning Muse on a non-Monday. There will be a shorter, pithier something coming your way on Monday. And to be honest, I have so much creative content that will be showing up on YouTube, on Instagram, and in collaborative spaces in the not too distant future. So thank you for those of you who have been paying attention. I cannot yet predict what my patterns will be, and I wouldn't ask that anyone do so right now, because it's a precarious time to be human. And while ritual and predictability are powerful powerful rhythms, pulses, we need them, I need them. But there are times, has any of my crisis attuned friends will attest, there are times, places, spaces where we set aside normal, we set aside patterned, we set aside ritualized, we even set aside intention and discipline to pause, get quiet, and do what the spirit within us and or around us is inviting. So thank you for listening if you've made it this far. Blessings. It's a Friday. May there be freedom in your heart, and may you be fearless in advocating for the freedom of those who have less than you.